Yo, what's up? This is KallaTheYapper, and I'm back with another reaction. Today I'm going to react to this video made by the DDG2, and it's titled, Honkai Star Rail Lost Its Identity in 2025. Now, I did watch a little bit of this video, probably like the first, probably about up to about right here before I turned it off. I was like, we need to actually dive into this, right? Now, he claims that Honkai Star Rail lost its identity in 2025. I hope he explains in what way did it lose its identity. Did it change the base of its game from being a turn-based game to another game that's completely different from what we originally had? Meta is too obvious because meta changes all the time. That's the basis of any gacha game. So that can't be the reason. Is it monetization? We've had a lot of spending events lately. No, actually, we've only had about 2 spending events. Yeah, I think we've only had 2 spending events. Are we going to mention... also, I need to say this. Those spending events were inconsequential to anybody's enjoyment of the game for the most part. The only thing that you could argue was consequential was Archer's Lycone. That's the only you could argue that was consequential. Granted, I don't have his Lycone and I don't really need it. And also the banner for the Fate collab is still up to this day. Cause I thought this banner would have ended like after 3 months had passed, but the banner has remained up. And I would be shocked if this banner remains up even in version 4 of the game. Like, I expected the Fate collab banner to end already. Okay, so what's another one? Power creep. Power creep was always going to be a thing regardless how anyone feels about it. New mechanics for characters. That's always going to be a thing. Certain characters are going to be able to deal with it. Other characters won't. You'll probably be able to squeeze in a version 1 or version 2 character in that so that you can, use them for the meta of the new mechanics and stuff. It's to be expected. So anyway, you get the point I'm making here. I'm curious to know, what does he mean that Star Rail lost its identity? Hopefully it is not purely on the basis of monetization of it losing its identity.
I used to be the biggest believer in HSR, thinking that this could be a game that I play for years. Now, I'd rather play AI slop, like Clair Obscur. Obviously, that was a joke, by the way. I don't want any, DG, you're such a hypocrite. I thought that you didn't care about AI. But seeing this tweet from Fox reminded me how upsetting it is to see HSR in the state it's in right now. Let's not act like spending events aren't one of the most egregious forms of monetization that exist. Today's video is...
While I would agree, we technically do spending events on the daily or monthly. Now somebody may be wondering, what do you mean by that? Every time there's a new limited character on the banner, and if you, let's say, don't have enough pulls to get the character, and also if you want to get their limited weapon, you need to at least spend $400 max with a little extra change. And for any Hoyoverse game, right, we know that the banners have 50/50s on them. So you need to at least spend that amount to guarantee that you get that character at best. Now you may disagree with my analogy of the whole the point I was making just now about the spending event and how we do it daily or monthly, technically, right? Because I'm trying to, I'm in this point right now where I am flip-flopping on whether or not, okay, not flip-flopping, let me be more accurate. I have no issue with spending events, especially when the spending event is inconsequential to my gameplay of the game, my playthroughs of the game, right? For example, like Archer having his light cone, right? I'm not too sure if Archer needs his light cone to function properly, but for a lot of my Amphorius characters, I do, or just most of my characters in general, I don't have 5-star weapons on them at all in Star Rail. I have 4-star weapons I'm using. Right? So I don't really know if these characters, if Star Rail characters necessarily need their light cones in order to function properly in comparison to like Withering Waves, where there aren't any good alternatives that exist like at all. So there's no way you could actually get a good alternative for them without their weapon. Star Rail, from what I've been understanding, there's a lot of weapons I could use for Star Rail characters, especially for Star Rail characters when it comes out to 4-star weapons. Especially when they put it legitly in the recommendation when you're like trying to find a light cone that's not their limited light cone, and they'll be like, "Oh, this 4-star light cone is good." It's like, "Oh wow, really? Thanks." Slap that on there. Anywho, I'm gonna skip this whole loot bar thing because this is unnecessary because I don't give a crap about it. For spending events, when these loot bar shop stuff exist to help you decrease the price of how much you're spending for a limited for a let's say a spending event, when these exist, is like, are spending events that troublesome or bothersome to deal with, especially if you actually want the content from, or the content material, whatever the crap, rewards from the spending event? Why don't you just use the loot bar then? Right? Because it exists for a reason. Anyway, let's get to the video.
Sponsoring today's video. First of all, it's literally called a spending event, as in the content here is only available if you spend money, and that's the highlight of the event. You swiping your card and completing the transaction. The reaction.
Yeah, so you can get the rewards from it, aka it's technically a direct purchase. Because I started now seeing spending events as direct purchases. Now someone may be like, why do you view it as a direct purchase? Because I don't have to deal with a 50-50 chance of me getting said weapon or said character. You don't have to deal with that when it comes down to a spending event. It's legitly pay for it, get your shit, walk out the door. That's what spending events are, technically. Pay for it up front, get your stuff, walk out the door. It's a direct transaction, in my honest God opinion.
Reaction to this spending event by a couple of CCs and the overall community as a whole has been overwhelmingly positive. So positive to the point where I feel like I'm almost losing my fucking mind.
Actually, let me go back to this. I never understood the true drama behind this. Let me see. During any warp event in version 3.0, spend a total of 200 stellar Star Rail special pass to claim the collaboration exclusive 5-star light cone. After the version update period of time. If I turn on Star Rail right now, this light cone is still going to be there. Pretty sure. Hold up. Let me do this right now. Let me boot it up. It's all for the sake of the argument. A second. Man, if I knew that I would be bringing this up, then I would have turned this thing on earlier so that I could have my examples set and ready. I had to log straight into Star Rail. Give me a second. I'm not trying to make this reaction longer than it needs to, so I'm just only gonna mention it now. Because if this light cone is still available to pull for right now in version 3.8, right? If this light cone is still available to pull for in version 3.8, despite the fact the spending event ended, that means this was inconsequential. It didn't matter if you got it right here or not right then on the 3.4 update, because you still can get it now. So let's take a look, shall we? Wait for this damn thing to load. Give it a second. There we go. Holy moly. Hopefully it doesn't throw me right into the story. Or leaves me off where I last left off at in the story. Alright. Let's check the warp. Fake collab banner. There is still no time limit on this banner. It says long-term banner. Saber, Archer, Saber Lycone, Archer Lycone, all are available to still pull for in version 3.8, and more than likely will still be here in version 4.0. So this spinning event was inconsequential to the nth degree. Because, and honestly, let's be freaking for real. If I had look at the screen to see how much I needed to spend, like someone tell me in the comment section, how much did you need to spend to get the Star Rail special passes to claim this light cone off rip? Because again, that's another direct purchase, right? You spent $300 to get a character light cone, right? Honestly, hot take, I think it's a benefit. I think spending events have their own unique benefits to exist. Because again, like I said earlier, direct purchases. You do not have to worry about a 50-50 when it comes down to a spending event. You just spend your money, get what you came for, and walk out the door. So I believe that is a benefit of spending events. You don't have to deal with the gotcha. You can just get it. Now y'all can express whether or not if you agree or disagree. But anyway, to know that this light cone is still available to obtain, granted you have to deal with the whole 50-50 thing, it's still, in my opinion, a good thing that this banner is still here. That means, guess what? If you wanted to get Archer's light cone, ever since version 3.4, it's been 4 months since the collab event happened. You could have easily obtained Archer's light cone, the entire time over the course of 4 months. Easy. Save a lot of primos for that. And on top of that, they gave Archer for free. That means you did not need to be like, oh man, I gotta pull on his banner to get a copy of Archer and then more copies of him. Nope, you got your first copy for free in the mail. Anywho, let's get back to the video, shall we?
Overall community as a whole has been overwhelmingly positive. So positive to the point where I feel like I'm almost losing my fucking mind. And this is the reason why. Let me talk about how this spending event is going to work. It is going to last for about 41 days from the start of version 3.4 until the end. And during this spending event, if you pull on any limited banner, if you spend a total of 200 limited pulls, you'll be able to claim Archer's light cone for...
Okay. 200 pulls, essentially, that you will need to do. How much is 200 pulls in Star Rail? Let's take a look, shall we? At max, to get 200 pulls... Okay, so I'm looking at the store right now. The store says... for 99.99 USD, you'll get 81 pulls. So let me go ahead and pull out my phone, do the math calculation. You feel me? Let's go ahead and get that started. Give me a second. Here we go. Calculator. 81 plus 81 is 162 pulls. So 162 pulls. Knowing that the banner phase. I'm thinking about. I gotta go back to limited time event banner. And I'm pretty sure someone told me in the comment section of one of my videos, one of my reactions, my order reactions, go check those out, by the way, that Star Rail gives at least, 90 pulls a patch? So 81 plus 81 plus 90 pulls, those are the free pulls you get from just playing the game and playing any of the content in the game to obtain those pulls. So with this in mind, you would have to at least spend $200 just to get 162 pulls, and then hopefully whatever pulls you did save up yourself, you would have at least, let's say you saved up 90 pulls, right? You would have at least 252 pulls during this spending event for this one patch, right? But hey, outright, if you didn't have any pulls and you just wanted to like just get the like home directly and just spend the money, you'd technically spend $200 to get 162 pulls, and then probably spend another 50 to then get 24.2 pulls from the second highest bundle. That's basically $50. And by doing that, you would at least get 186.2 pulls, which then you're still not close enough. Then we go to, of course, the shop, where you just exchange the, the Starlight exchange, which then you can just exchange the Starlight stuff for like 5 pulls. Then the Embers exchange, you can get, 90 is how much you get, depending on how much of this, what's this thing? The Undying Embers, depending on how much of that you can get a whole bunch of these. How many primos you've saved up, or jade you've saved up on your account without having like used it at all. You could then use that to add on a little more. So essentially you would reach 200 pulls by doing that, because with 186 pulls, that's a lot of Undying Embers to collect to then, cycle it back and cycle into this, thing to get free stuff without needing to spend more money. There we go. And also, knowing that Star Rail has been giving out a lot of free 5 stars lately, from losing your 50/50 to limited 5 stars, to also being able to obtain a limited 5 star every once in a while from the Stellar Convergence, which costs you only 1 to get one of the 5 stars from here, whether it be the standard or limited. And knowing that they're going to add more in the future, because it has a stay tuned thing here, knowing that they're going to add more characters onto this in the future means people will get their hands on more free 5 stars without needing to spend any money at all. Shoot, they even have Light Cone Redemption. I did not even know this was even here. So retroactively, Star Rail is legitly creating a free-to-play way to obtain the necessary, pulls or currency to obtain stuff for free. At least for about 50% of it. The reason I say that, because the currency you need to get the limited light cones from the store that belongs to these limited and standard characters, you need to buy the battle pass essentially for that to get those. But for these, to obtain limited the limited characters, the currency you need to obtain them, if you get a double drop of a limited or standard 5 star, you can get this golden companion spirit currency to then exchange it. So that's a way for someone to get one of these characters from this shop, from the Stellar Convergence as well. That's very interesting. So they're essentially paving a way for people to get stuff, not everything for free, right? But a good portion of it for free. And I think that's worth, giving flowers towards, because why wouldn't you like another pathway that will allow you to obtain something for free without needing to spend money? right? Anyway, let's get back to the video.
For free.
HSR at this point so heavily encourages spending money through so many avenues, and you literally have to try to be avoiding the fact that you have to spend money at this point if you don't think that's the case. Let's start with the most recent anomaly arbitrage. This was easily the hardest arbitrage yet. What a surprise. But this also makes me think that maybe people are finally going to realize how ridiculous this game mode
I haven't done arbitrage at all. Ever since it originally came out, I never touched it.
is in 2026 when 4.0 comes out, or maybe 2027 if they delay it a couple more times. When it comes to night one, we have some random placeholder boss that the devs don't care about, and so I'm going to break down step by step exactly what this boss does. Yeah, just kidding. If you came here for a descriptive breakdown, then sorry to disappoint you.
Then you should do it then, don't you think? If you're gonna talk about a game mode and talk about the bosses and the mechanics for it, in relation to your video about how Honkai Star Rail lost its identity, and this is related to your point that you're making, then no, you most definitely should, tell us about it, especially for the people who don't know, for the people who don't play Star Rail and only hear it in passing through you and your content. Maybe you should mention it. Because you don't play Star Rail, as far as I know from your content. You don't ever upload any gameplay of it. You don't do none of that. So it's hard for me to actually even believe if you even know exactly what you're talking about 100%. Now, for the people who do play Star Rail, who watch my content, y'all can let me know if he's being 100% here. Anywho, let's continue.
Point you, but I'm not gonna do that. Long story short, you gotta have units with memo sprites here, which kind of has been the story of the entirety of 3.x. If you were somebody that didn't really like the idea of summons and you decided to skip most of these characters, then you're just not allowed to participate in the challenging content of this game. Or should
I mean, rightfully so. Now I know someone may hear that and think, wow, that's pretty anti-consumer of you. But here's the thing, though. We're playing gacha games. We're playing live service games whose meta changes periodically. In the case of Star Rail, it's changed monthly. Granted, that was like back in version 2. It changed monthly. But throughout the entirety of version 3, it stayed consistent about what type of playstyle was going to be going on in version 3, which was memo sprites. Same thing with Genshin. Same thing with Zenless. The entirety of version 1 for Zenless Zone Zero predominantly predicated itself towards anomaly units, and they were favored throughout the entirety of season 1. Then season 2 comes, meta shifts. Now attack units are being favored alongside the new class Rupture, and they're releasing supports for those. They're releasing new DPS characters for those, right? You get the point I'm making here, right? Since the game is shifting in meta, why aren't you shifting with it? I understand that you put a lot of time into building up this specific team, but knowing that a game such as these gacha games or any live service games changes their meta periodically, don't you think that you should also evolve with it? Don't you think you should not be, stuck in your ways and be stingy and being like, I'm not going to invest in another team type because I put so much time in this one team type? And then you're going to sit here and complain about, oh man, I can't beat the in-game content with this set of characters that I spent so much time on. I understand the frustration, but if you're not going to, give yourself or obtain something that would help you, get through the new content that is predicated towards this certain team play style, you're essentially pigeonholing yourself. That's what it is. You're pigeonholing yourself. Again, I understand, I get it, but you're pigeonholing yourself. Cause I guess I'm not sure if this is a conversation going on in Zenless right now, but there was a whole thing. I guess I don't know if it's still happening or whatever, but we have this whole thing with Zenless where people who built anomaly teams do not want to shift meta into building their attack teams. They don't want to do it. And we saw it when it came to Seed and Orphe's release, right? The whole conversation about anomaly is being left behind while attack is being favored and all the other stuff. And it's like, bro, If they're releasing bosses that wants attack units to be brought to the fight, bring attack units. You pull for characters so that you can have a giant roster on your account, right? Regardless of whatever the reason, whether it be for meta or for waifu or husbando, it does not matter. You pull for these characters regardless. And guess what? You're going to have, if you have an assortment of characters, let's say you have 90 characters on your account and there's 200 characters in the game. You have almost half of the entire roster. You're telling me you're only going to build one team type knowing that you have enough characters to build at least 3? Tell me, people, does that make sense to you? The answer is it doesn't. Knowing that a game shifts its meta, and this is my advice to anybody who plays any of these gacha games or any live service game. If the meta is shifting, adapt to the shifting meta so that you can be able to deal with the content, so that you be able to experience the content. I know it sucks that you have to do that, but it is legitimately a necessity.
Really like the
Granted, there's gonna be moments where your anomaly team or your old team from olden time can still mop the floor with the in-game content, which is fine. But just know that's not always going to be the case. So you best, invest into the second team archetype before that team archetype, loses favor. Right? Star Wars got so many team archetypes at this point. We got Super Break, we got Follow-Up Attack, we got DOT, Memo Sprite. What's another one? Did I name all of them already? I feel like there's another one. Someone let me know if there's another team archetype I'm missing.
Has been the story of the entirety of 3.x. If you were somebody that didn't really like the idea of summons and you decided to skip most of these characters, then you're just not allowed to participate in the challenging content of this game. Or should I?
Also, most of the a few handful of Star Rail characters didn't have the whole Memo Sprite thing, right? Pretty sure Treeby does not have a Memo Sprite. I'm pretty sure. Actually, since I got the game up right now, I can check this for myself. Oh, wrong button. No, I need like character library. Crap, I can't access the damn archive. I hate that there isn't a way for me to exit out of the damn story right now. Oh, here we go. Found it. There we go. Found my way out. Alright, now I can go to the Astral Express, go to the train car, passenger car. So I can go check Treeby's stuff to know if she has a Memo Sprite in her thing so I can list my characters out properly. Okay, let's go to character. Oh, wrong one. I need to go to characters. Alright, let's... Okay. So, yeah, Treeby does not have a Memo Sprite. So there's only legitly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's only 5 characters with Memo Sprites out of the entire Amphorius squad. We have Dong Hong, who's in the preservation. I'm surprised he's not considered a Memo Sprite character. We have Cypher in Nihility alongside High Ceilings. Neither one of them have Memo Sprites. For Harmony, we have Siedra, Treeby. Neither of these two have Memo Sprites. For Erudition, we have Anazagorus, or Anaxa. He's not a Memo Sprite character. The Path of the Hunt, we have Oh wow, really? There's no Amphorius character that's on the Path of the Hunt. Okay, interesting. For the Path of Destruction, how many characters from Amphorius are on the Path of Destruction? Let's see. We only have 2 characters on the Path of Destruction from Amphorius, and that's Phynon and his twin, his 2-man mission, My Day. Right? So that's about 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so we essentially have 8 characters who are not tied to the whole Memo Sprite thing, aka the Path of Remembrance, while we have 5 characters tied to the Memo Sprite or Path of Remembrance. Technically, it's 6 since we also have to count, Remembrance Trailblazer as well. So technically, it's 6, not 5. So 8 characters that are non-Memo Sprite, 6 that are. And guess what? When those characters were released and whatnot, the content tweaked itself to cater to them. That's just naturally what happened. Even if you didn't have, let's say, all 5 or 6, technically all 6 of the Memo Sprite characters, if you had at least 2 of them, you're fine. Technically, your first one was going to be Remembrance Trailblazer, and your second one was going to be any limited one you pulled for, no matter what it was, whether it be Cyrene, Aglaya, Casterus, Hycelins, or Evernight. Anyway, let us continue.
Or should I say, quote unquote, challenging, in the fact that this game challenges your bank account. And as HP inflation gets even higher and the bosses hit even harder, you realize that your freedom to choose what characters to play is extremely limited. And speaking of these bosses hitting way harder, guess what character has a Memo Sprite and happens to be a healer on top of that? And a DPS with how hard she hits. That's right, I'm talking about the My Little Pony Barbara XP. This character is one of the biggest must pulls I've ever seen in any gacha game. It seems like every single boss basically has a part of their description begging you to use Hycene because of how much she offers to the team. This game,
you can still bring a character like Luocha to heal for you. You can still bring him. I'm pretty sure Luocha back in version 1 or 2 didn't have the ability to dispel like any type of like effect that was put onto the character, unless you had like someone else who had the ability to dispel stuff off your character or off your teammates. Luocha now has that ability, apparently. I think they tweaked him so he can have that ability. So Luocha is a good pick to bring with you, so you don't have to have Hycelin or Hyacin. There's good 4-star options you can bring as well. Believe it or not, my Lynx has carried me like crazy until I switched to freaking Luocha, and now my Luocha carries me a lot.
has a part of their description begging you to use Hycene because of how much she offers to the team. This game, more than any other game that I've ever played, is a game where there are requirements before you even press the start button to start playing the game.
Yeah, duh. If you're going into a boss fight with a boss with certain mechanics, you should bring characters who can, counter the mechanic or have a way with dealing with the mechanic. That's what we usually do when we play video games, no? Whether it be gacha games or non-gacha games. Honestly, tell me how many times for anyone who's played Elden Ring, tell me how many times did y'all have to change your equipment to deal with a boss that you thought, oh, the equipment I got on, it's fine, it's gonna work, only to get slapped to the floor like a chump, get killed 10 different times, and you're like, you know what? Time to change my build. Time to change my equipment because this is not working. Same thing applies to a gacha game. Change your equipment around.
Hardcore shilling of certain characters has definitely drove people away from HSR because some of these units don't even need shilling. They're already OP, by the way. And yeah, it's safe to assume most people have Memo Sprite characters at this point, but once again, that isn't everybody. And on top of that, HSR might as well change their name to HPI because At this point, I've had to bring up HP inflation in pretty much every single HSR video I've ever made. With Night 2, we have the classic use the new character stage. So I'm sure you know what to do here if you've been listening so far. You need Dahlia. Here's the thing, it's not the most optimal to just have super break characters that you've invested into in the past. You have your Firefly, maybe even with an E2, with months of investment into relics and a full super break team to go alongside her. But you still need the new character. At least you don't need Rappa because you'll probably never see her again. Night 3 actually has way more options. But
Wait. You're sitting here saying that you need Dahlia to deal with it, despite the fact there's an abundance of 5-star Super Break characters who support Super Break to get the job done. Why exactly would I need to bring Dahlia? What does she bring to the table that is a necessity for me to bring her? Actually, if I can I look at this damn thing myself? I got the game pulled up here for this exact reason. Because all this side lip talking stuff is not enough for me. Complete prerequisites to unlock the game mode. And what prerequisites is that, nigga? After completing the adventure mission, where perfection will be unlocked. After completing mission, shadow will be locked. After reaching equilibrium level 6, higher stages was a forgotten hall, and shadow will be unlocked. Okay. These can be achieved having completed the main not Tai Saga. Not the will be unlocked. Okay, so the adventure mission, not Tai Saga. I don't think I've done that yet. Is there a way for me to find it? How can I find this quest? Nighttime. Is it on my playlist of things to do? Let's see. Shit, so what the crap is this story quest at? Or whatever the crap I'm supposed to be playing to unlock it. Where is it? Got all these other damn things here, except for what I'm looking for. Okay, so I have a currency war freaking quest on here. What about the Atlas? Can the Atlas show me anything? Okay. No, the Atlas isn't showing me anything. When did that arbitrage thing get released? Like in version 3.6? 3.5? I'm seeing everything else except what I need to find. This thing shows the freaking world quest tied to every damn thing too. But I can't find what I need. This sucks. Okay. Let's continue.
Great team to maybe even with an E2, with months of that you've invested into in the past. You have your Firefly, maybe even with an E2. With
Hold up.
You need Dahlia. Here's the thing, it's not the most optimal to just have.
Also, what boss in this
classic you?
Hold up. What's this? This is stage 2. He claims stage 2 you need homegirl. I'm not seeing how that's the case.
The new character stage. So I'm sure you know what to do here if you've been listening so far. You need Dahlia. Here's the thing, it's not the most.
I hate the fact that he's not providing a description of the boss for stage 2. What boss is in stage 2 that requires you to bring a super break team? Or better yet, what exactly is it that the boss has that the Dahlia counters, that the super break team that already exists doesn't already provide?
The most optimal to just have super break characters that you've invested into in the past. You have your Firefly, maybe even with an E2, with months of investment into relics and a full super break team to go alongside her. But you still need.
Also, the Dahlia, from what I read from her kit, the Dahlia converts toughness reduction into one instance of Super Break. Right? That's what she does. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. But I got her character pulled up right here. And if I'm understanding it properly, it says in her traces that enemy targets in the wilt state will have their defense reduced by 10%. This is her ultimate, and will be implanted with weaknesses of all dance party types. Okay, when entering combat, the Dahlia regenerates 35 energy and becomes dance partners along with the teammate that triggered combat, aka the DPS, technically. Whenever there is no other dance partner on field, this unit and the teammate with the highest break effect become dance partners together. After a dance partner attacks a weakness broken enemy target, the toughness reduction from this attack will be converted into one instance of Super Break damage at 36%. After an enemy target gets attacked by the other dance partner, the Dahlia launches follow-up attack and deals 5 instances of damage, each dealing fire damage equal to 18% of the Dahlia's attack to one random enemy. After each instance of damage dealt to a weakness broken enemy target, the toughness reduction from this damage will be converted into one instance of Super Break damage at 120%. This effect can only trigger once per turn. If the target is defeated before the follow-up attack is used, it will be launched at one random enemy instead. So like I said, her dance partner thing can only activate alongside another character who is more likely the DPS with the highest break effect. Weakness broken enemies, the toughness reduction will be converted into one instance of Super Break damage. And then it will do it again, give 5 instances of damage, each dealing fire damage. Each instance of damage dealt to a weakness broken enemy target, toughness reduction from the damage will be converted into one instance of Super Break damage at 120%. So essentially, she just converts weakness, toughness reduction into Super Break damage, or an instance of damage, more likely fire damage. So that's what she does. This is cool and all, right? But I'm still not seeing how it is that she's being catered to in the in-game. He's not explaining what is said in the description of the in-game of this in particular in-game mode. That's like, oh, you need the Dahlia.
Months of investment into relics and a full Super Break team to go alongside her. But
I wonder whose gameplay this is that he's showing right now.
you still need the new character. At least you don't need Rappa because you'll probably never see her again. Night 3 actually has way more options, but good luck trying to do this with low invested characters. And when I talk about investment, I mean monetary investment. If you're not a free-to-play that saves for like a year at a time to pull characters. The endgame isn't the only major issue here. The story in HSR has never been exceptional or anything, so I'm not expecting a AAA level story from Hoyo. But remember, they've had to return back to Penacony because of how bad that ending was. Now, I think that Penacony might get a lot more hate than it ever really deserved, but that's because it features some of my favorite characters.
My take on that is that, one, they went back to Penacony to fill up plot holes that people had with the story, or that were noticeable in the story, and we're essentially actively doing that in version 3.8 with the Dahlia, as we go back through our memories to see what exactly was the truth versus what was the lie, right? What the Trailblazer experienced versus what everybody else experienced. It's basically what we're doing. Personally, I don't think this is a sign or as he's claiming it in the title of his video, as a sign of Star Rail losing its identity. That doesn't make sense to me. How is it losing its identity when they're going back to a completed story to be like, yo, let's fill up these plot holes that we may have made in the plot so that it can make more sense, right? So the entire picture can be painted, right? I don't see how that's losing the identity. I'm still trying to find out what's the loss of identity part here.
A lot more hate than it ever really deserved, but that's because it features some of my favorite characters. So that's probably why I think that. I love Dr. Ratio and of course Acheron. But retconning the story after this long is laughable. Not only is this retcon just
What exactly is the retcon? Will you go before things explain? Now I would say this, for anybody watching this reaction, probably by the time I post this, I would have already finished the story, or I still haven't finished it. So be wary of that, or just check my live streams and see if I haven't done another Star Rail live stream, because I already completed the Star Rail story of version 3.8. But as of what I've played through, because I've done at least 2 hours, almost 3 hours of gameplay, before I even did this reaction, there has not been any retconning that I've seen. There hasn't been any retconning at all. They're saying that the Trailblazer has gaps in their memory because someone stole it or whatever without them noticing. So we're actually going back and looking back on everything to make sure or to see what was stolen. There hasn't been any retconning. Unless you deem like, oh, them being like, yo, what the Trailblazer experienced wasn't the entire truth as the retcon. If you're deeming that as the retcon, okay, cool. Granted, I would disagree. But other than that, I haven't seen anything that's worth claiming that it's a retcon.
and
I can tell this nigga did not play the story, and more than likely heard this based off people making the claim that they retconned the story. More than likely. Because this guy doesn't play the game anymore. As far as I know, he does not play the game at all, or anymore. So I can't take his word serious when he says, oh, they're retconning the story. As someone who's actively playing it right now, I'm not seeing any retcons.
The story after this long is laughable. Not only is this retcon just terrible, but it shows that they're willing to do whatever they want to the story at any moment to invalidate anything that has ever happened. Oh, well, actually,
that's dishonest as F. I'm sorry. No. They're not doing it for the shits and giggles. They're doing it to make sure they've covered any plot holes in the plot so that nobody can mistake anything, or there can be a misunderstanding of information moving forward through the story. That's the point of writing such a chapter. Oh my God. Such a smart move by a writer to, make sure, they fill up them plot holes so that there won't be an issue later. Wow, that sounds like something so bad to do as a writer for your story, doesn't it? Well, at least from this guy's logic, that's what it sounds like. And not only that, the way he's talking as if this is Infinity Nikkei, where they freaking overhauled their entire story and changed it from the ground up for some whatever reason. This is not what's happening right now for Star Rail. This is not what's happening. We're revisiting a already finished story beat to fill up plot holes. That's the difference. This is not what Infinity Nikkei is doing. Because he's kind of insinuating that, even though he's not mentioning Infinity Nikkei.
of course, Acheron. But retconning the story after this long is laughable. Not only is this retcon just terrible, but it shows that they're willing to do whatever they want to the story at any moment to invalidate anything that has ever happened. Oh, well, actually, everyone that ever died is now alive.
Who died? This is how you know he didn't play the game or he stopped at a rather crucial point. Something people seem to forget. The entirety of Penaconi's story was in a freaking dream bubble. Meaning any death that happened never actually happened. Like, no shit, Sherlock. Granted, hopefully he doesn't tell me a spoiler in the next line.
and there's no stakes in our story. The flaws in HSR are more prevalent than ever, and for once I am content with the units that I have, and I don't have that feeling of FOMO anymore because there isn't any care being put into this game. The thing about...
Can you provide proof that there's no care being put into the game? Other than HP inflation? Other than, oh, they're shilling boss mechanics to certain characters types? Even though, you know, that's not a permanent thing that happens. And what I mean by that is they cycle through what characters are being shilled versus what characters aren't. They cycle them through periodically. It's not a one and done. It stays like that permanently all the way through. They reset for a reason. Again, this whole point that he made about the story is, in my opinion, just an off-base point that doesn't hold any real weight. And I can tell more than likely he didn't play the story again, and that he's just regurgitating a point that he heard more than likely Saint Tonta say, or some rando in the comment section say, that prof who deemed it, oh, this was a retcon, when in reality it wasn't a retcon.
Just terrible, but it shows that they're willing to do whatever they want to the story at any moment to invalidate anything that has ever happened. Oh, well, actually, everyone that ever died.
Actually, what they're doing in the 3.8 story isn't invalidating anything, especially what we experienced playing it as the Trailblazer. It doesn't actually invalidate anything that we're going through right now. Everything that I've played through up to where I stopped at, it's followed the exact plot of what happened in those moments, but the difference is we're following the other character's point of view of these moments that we didn't originally get in the main story. Like Firefly infiltrating the dream. We never got that in the main story. We just came across her. That's what happened. And she lied about being, oh, I'm part of the Iris family, when she really wasn't. Is that a plot hole? Is that a retcon to you? Is that just effing around with the story for the sake of it? Because they don't care about the story? And to make the claim that Hoyoverse doesn't care about their stories of their games, despite the fact, legitly, the stories and the lore and the world building of their games is legitly the backbone for why people even touch these games to begin with, is crazy.
God is now alive, and there's no stakes in our story. The flaws in HSR are more...
Wait, hold on. What he just say?
Invalidate anything that has ever happened. Oh, well, actually, everyone that ever died is now alive, and there's no stakes in our story. The flaws in HSR are more...
And there's just no stakes in our story. There was always stakes in the story. Just because someone didn't die, it didn't invalidate the stakes. Case in point, Sunday weaving his eternal dream bubble, capturing a good portion of the freaking galaxy in it, and different, like, a whole star system in it. Was that not a stake? Was that not something, oh, we had to stop? Just because people didn't die did not invalidate the stakes. Because we were already trapped in the dream when we thought we escaped it. They caught us with the okie-doke, pulled the rug from under our feet, making us think, oh, look at Dong Hong and Jing Yuan. They came and freaking rocked Sunday's mess. Bent him over and let him have it. Only to be like, JK, just kidding. No, that didn't happen. Y'all niggas are still in the dream. What about the Amphorius chapter? The Amphorius chapter remained intriguing despite the fact we learned throughout the story that this was all an extrapolation made to give birth to the Lord Ravager known as Iron Tomb. The story built its stakes up to the inevitable birth of Iron Tomb, and guess what? This nigga essentially wiping us out in the final act. The only way we survived being wiped out in the final act was thanks to Cyrene and her power over Memoria, and also later the realization that she is the Aeon of Remembrance. That is the only way we survived that, erasure from existence. And guess what? When we survived it, we come back to fight Iron Tomb. Guess what happens? Everyone starts regenerating, or at least the people from Amphorius, in particular the Chrysos heirs, started regenerating back into existence. That includes March 7th and Dong Hung. And we get to letting Iron Tomb have it, slapping this man with beam blasts, water tides of memorial, aka remembrance. Just letting him have it, nuking him with him, nuking him with it. And then what? The final clash where we freaking laser beam his ish with our freaking arrow, blowing a freaking hole in his head. Well, body technically, not head, because he didn't have a head. Anyway, you get the point. To sit here and make the claim that there was no stakes for any story, for any of the story, from whether it be Penacony or for Amphorius, is by far the most retarded take you could give. Sorry. If you want to talk about something that really did kill stakes, or actually, it didn't kill stakes, but it really made it look really dumb, was Woo-Wah, when they really hammered in a point to be like, Frolova is dead, or she's finally got her paradise and that she's done. Her story has come to an end. It's met its conclusion. Didn't really feel that way when she appeared out of nowhere for the final act. And also, in comparison, here's another comparison I want to bring up. For Amphorius, guess what? When the story ended for Amphorius, it ended on a bittersweet note. No one from Amphorius continues to exist right now in the current story. They all don't exist right now. They're nothing more than pages on a storybook right now that have to be remembered, so that when Amphorius finally actually manifests in reality, for how long, we don't know how long that's going to be. Could be billions of years later into the future, before the planet that Amphorius, that planet that soon be known as Amphorius, manifests into reality, with all those characters that we met throughout Amphorius' story, right? It ended on a bittersweet note on purpose. And its finale, 100%, was better than Withering Waves, because it ended in a bittersweet note. Yeah, we defeated Iron Tomb, but that didn't mean the main cast got to live their life outside of at the end of the story. Nope, they just vanished into non-existence until the day comes for them to actually manifest into reality. Anyway, back to the video.
More prevalent than ever, and for once I am content with the units that I have, and I don't have that feeling of FOMO anymore, because there isn't any care being put into this game. The thing about FOMO is that when you start prioritizing different things in your life, then it won't get to you anymore. I was lucky enough to get out of that FOMO cycle because I was able to identify my gambling problem early on. And for
good for you. And I say that honestly and earnestly, right? Personally, I never fell for any of the FOMO. I can't relate. Despite the fact I've been playing Genshin for like 5 years and Star Rail for 2. So I can't relate to this whole falling for FOMO. I just can't. It's pretty freaking obvious. Like, if Genshin Impact was your first gacha, you should have been able to tell what the FOMO was, what FOMO practice is. Shoot, you don't even need to look at gacha. Look at real life stuff. Oh, this limited edition, once in a lifetime guarantee. Get it now before it's too late. FOMO. We see FOMO practice in our everyday life outside of this gacha stuff. Oh, you want a discount on this TV? Well, get it now while the discount lasts. Get it 50% off. This deal will end in 2 days. FOMO.
out of that FOMO cycle because I was able to identify my gambling problem early on. And for a lot of people, that's really just what it is. They don't even want to admit to themselves that they have a problem. But once you are able to realize that you're just being delusional and actually have a problem with FOMO, then ask yourself what's more important to you in your life. The next time you're going to eat, or Constance. Your word of the day today is Zenless. Or the 5 people that play ZZZ that watch my videos, are you excited about 2.5? Maybe I should return to the game for once because
Yeah, return to the game so you can doom post about it and say that the game is dying and that the game is bad.
heard that 2.5 looks great. Now, I definitely don't have any hopes for anything going on in that game, but I'm going to play this patch.
Yeah, based off what misinformation that's been spread around in the community, in particular Saint Tontas and his forever campaign to paint Zenless in the worst light possible, to say that it's the worst worst performing gacha when it comes out to any of the Hoyoverse games, purely basing it off Twitch tracker. So, which is also very stupid because if you look at Twitch tracker right now, Zenless Zone Zero is over here topping Wuthering Waves 3.0 update. The reason I noticed is because someone posted it in my Discord and screenshotted it. So
patch, and then I'll probably just remember why I don't log in anymore. But don't get me wrong, I think that ZZZ is probably the best overall Hoyo product currently, so I don't hate it or anything, but it suffers from the same issues that HSR has, except it actually has content. The new Void Hunter looks great, but is it a hot...
It suffers from the same issue, but I guess, again, for someone who knows about the game, who actually plays it, aka me, they've been handling this whole boss mechanic HP inflation issue by, buffing characters, giving out a substat reroller to be able to tweak your characters so they can be a bit better. And now with the potential value unlocking thing, which you don't need to spend any money to obtain that, you can legitimately just do daily logins to obtain the currency to then unlock your character's buffs more and more until you get all 6 of those things unlocked. Holy freaking guacamole. Sounds like Zenless Zone Zero's dev team is actually handling the problems that people are having with the game. But of course, we're going to still sit here and say the game is bad. Granted, I know he didn't say this, but let's be for real. The Gacha GGT2 will say this and make this claim if he ever decides to make a video about Zenless, which I will react to.
Hot take that this character will be the best unit in the game and will raise the power ceiling of the game once again, just like Mojave did. But I guess that's fine. I think as long as Zenless continues to build on the quality of life that they've been adding to the game and continue to build on those beautiful environments that the game has, then it'll be fine. And anyways, I was gonna upload yesterday.
As long as Zenless dev team, the real thing that you should be concerned about, not freaking creating environments or what the other crap he just said. What was the other thing he just said? Hold up, what?
Zenless continues to build on the quality of life that they've been adding to the game, and
quality of life is first and foremost. And of course, listening to players' feedback. Those are the only two things that matter. Not quality of listening to quality, adding quality of life and creating the background set pieces for the areas and shit. Like what? In terms of damage ceiling, increasing the damage ceiling, I think that may have happened with her release. Allow me to pull up Pride Win real quick. I know I've been reacting for a good while, but I need to pull up Zenless Pride Win tier list just to see where did they place her. Also, the Pride Win's tier list should not be taken into 100% truth because even they can be wrong. Because guess what? If Wuthering Waves can be wrong about their Pride Win tier list, about how they set their characters, and then we have the clown get upset about that, then we can do the same thing for, Zenless. Shoot, there's even debated on whether or not most of these characters are even supposed to be in these slots. Okay, so what I'm seeing right now is that they have, Apex characters, they have T0, they have crit DPS, then anomaly DPS, and then support. Anomaly DPS's slot has not been filled. I don't know where Miyabi is. I guess someone messed it up on here. But I see Miyabi has been pushed down to T0.5 as an anomaly DPS. Mind you, this is at M0, not M6, M0. So, right now, or before, you had Miyabi and Yishuan be at the top, at the tip top, which is T0. Now, at the top is Yishuan Gong and Shifu right now. Which, makes sense because the current in-game content is catering towards, attack units and rupture units. So this was naturally going to happen. But it's been 1.4, 1.5, 1.6, 1.7, 2.0, 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, 2.4, 2.5. It's been 10 months, almost an entire year since Miyabi has been at the top of the list, at the tip top of the list. So it's been about 10 months, right? So that's almost a year's worth of time. And I think it's 100% valid that Miyabi got pushed down by 1 level. Not by 2, not by 3, by 1 level. She's legitimately at the halfway point before T1. Shoot, right now, she's been pushed down to the level of some of these other DPSs, new and old, that have come out. Right? You got the crit DPSs, which essentially are like attack and rupture units. And then you have anomalies, and then you have their supports. And then, of course, you have T1 and whatnot. Anywho.
And continue to build on those beautiful environments that the game has, then it'll be fun. Anyways, I was going to upload yesterday, but yesterday was my birthday. So I didn't want to take a peek into the gacha space and then ruin my mood. So if you want to give me a present, then you could subscribe if you haven't already. Okay, this is me like a week later. Like a week since I recorded this video. That's why it's been so long. It's been almost 2 weeks since I've uploaded, and that's because I got so fucking sick. Of course, bro. I got so sick.
Understandable. Anyway. Also, happy birthday to you.
Knocked out. Thank you all so much for watching this far.
Anyway, that's enough of this. I think I said everything I needed to say in this reaction. You can express whether you agree or disagree with me in the comment section below. I may or may not reply to you, but I'll still, heart your comment so you can know I looked at it. Anywho, like, sub, turn on the notification bell, join my YouTube community Discord. Link is on my channel. Check out my yapping topics and my yapping reaction content as well. Both playlists are available for you to watch. Maybe on screen right now for you to see. I stream Star Rail, Genshin, Zenless, and Wuwa right here on YouTube, along with 2 non-gacha games, which I need to get back into playing because I haven't played them in a while. Those being Gravity Rush Remastered and Fate Samurai Remnant. So come check me out when I play those games. Yeah, I think that's about it. I'm still working on the script for my Traveler's Strength video about why the Traveler isn't as weak as people claim him to be, or that the story, or people claiming that the story weakens the Traveler to prop up 5-star characters, which we all know that's not fucking true if you actually did any stuff fucking research and actually looked at any of the cutscenes and stuff related to the characters. But anyway, that's enough of that. This is KallaTheYapper signing out. Peace.